We'll get this going here. Hello, this is Wally Cornman, and he's here with Judy Mills and Don Joseph, I'm narrator today, and we're going to share some of his background and history in the Gig Harbor area, along with a little bit of his military life. Wally was born on December 1st, 1925, in Natchez, Washington. And do you have any memories of Natchez or the area before you moved to Gig Harbor in 1936?
Very little.
Very little.
Well, I was 10 years old.
Sure, okay, okay. And when you moved to Gig Harbor, what are your first experiences that you can remember?
Probably sport fishing, right off of our dock, right? We had the finest dock in the country, and we didn't have to go out, and we could fish right off of our dock. We had live pens all around the dock, and we had clams and oysters and cod and salmon and octopus. I sold everything. The Slavonians in Gig Harbor would buy everything, as long as it was seafood.
Was your house located in Gig Harbor Bay, or was it?
Yeah, right on the bay.
Right on the bay.
On the east side, though. Yeah.
Okay. So you probably remember seeing a lot of boat building. And,
Oh yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
Yeah, you betcha. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you betcha.
Can you tell us about your grade school there?
Well, I try to go back and remember a lot of it, but you know, I lose it for some reason or other. I try to remember my teacher's name, and I lose that.
Sure.
Yeah. It's.
Well, at 96 years old, you're certainly entitled to forget something. Okay. So you went to grade school there at the head of the bay?
Yeah.
Was that, did they call that, what was the name of that school?
Oh,
Do we happen to remember?
gosh, I can even forget that.
Yeah,
I think
that's all right. It's right there at the head of the bay, though, in
Yeah,
Gig Harbor.
yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. Well, boy, I'm getting so lousy.
Uh-huh.
It was Gig Harbor Grade School, I think, but that's close enough anyway.
Okay, so then at about 30 years old, then you eventually bought your house out here in Vaughan, is that
Oh, yeah.
right? Right.
Well, that's when Sally and I got married. I was 30, and Sally was 37.
Uh-huh,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So she had a little bit of more experience in life than you did at the time.
A little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. When you moved out to Vaughan, can you tell us about the house that you bought and where it was?
Well, it was on Hall Road,
Mm-hmm.
right, not too far from the Vaughan School.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was only a couple houses between us and the Vaughan School.
Uh-huh,
And it was a big house,
yeah,
5 bedrooms,
Yeah.
3 up and 2 down, 1 bathroom.
yeah, okay.
Well, when it was built, that's what they did, only 1 bathroom usually.
Sure. And you had a family with Sally. How many children did you guys have?
Sally and I,
Yeah,
just 1.
just the one.
Yeah,
Okay.
Teresa, yeah.
Teresa,
Yeah.
okay. When did she come along? Do you happen to remember
Well,
about what year?
she's 61 now, so
Okay,
yeah, she's getting up there too.
yeah, okay.
She lives in Fox Island.
Yeah, okay, that's really good.
I talk to her almost every day on the phone,
Uh-huh.
and she stops and sees me, and she does all my laundry for me.
Good, good. Now you're sharing some of your fishing experiences there at what we now call the Tides Tavern. Can you share about that?
Well, I just fished herring for the boathouse.
Uh-huh.
Live herring.
Uh-huh.
And they had another boathouse in Seattle. And they had a boat that used to come down with live tanks on it and pick up fish and take them back to Seattle.
Oh,
But there was a lot of herring at that time. It was herring all over. Just had to go outside of the Gig Harbor Spit and you could catch all the herring you wanted. There was ball herring all over the place. You didn't have to work too hard for it.
So that was your first fishing experiences then,
yeah.
before you went professional and full time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, very good. Now later on, you joined the service in 1942, and are a World War II vet, one of the rare ones. I mean, not too many anymore.
Not many of us left.
Not many more. So you're.
I've just been so fortunate. I don't take no pills. That's all. My doctor just loves it.
Wow. You indicated earlier that you're about the same weight now as when you joined the service, or something like that. Yeah, that was that's quite an achievement.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
And I do watch what I eat. I've belonged to the Eagles down here now for 42 years.
Oh wow. Okay. 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 Why don't you put your hat on there before we talk about your war service a little bit? Show us what that looks like. World War II veteran, there you go. That's pretty good. You can proudly wear that, and thank you for your service.
You betcha.
By golly, we all do, you know. Those of us that are all been comfortable and at home all of our lives, we just don't quite understand what the service was about.
Well, I get treated so good. No matter where I go around here, I go over to the VFW in Port Orchard. Yet I can't buy a drink. And almost the same at the Eagles down here. And
Sure.
in the restaurants here.
Sure.
Yeah. I get treated so good no matter where I go.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about the USS Boggs?
It was a destroyer escort. Yeah, it was a fairly old boat, but it was fast, and I was on it when the war ended, and we were off the Sea of Japan, and the Missouri was anchored there for the surrender, and we were going round and round it. It was quite an experience. That's as close as I got to Japan, was the Sea of Japan.
So you were in the Pacific most of the time on the USS Boggs?
The whole war, yeah.
Did you ever take any oncoming fire or anything like that? Or?
Seen a lot of it, and we had a lot of shrapnel on the ship from bombs exploding and stuff. And
Sure.
we were on the invasion of Okinawa and Iwo Jima.
Oh, wow,
Oh, yeah.
okay. Yeah, great.
That was hell.
Do you want to share some of that with us?
Killed.
Or,
A lot of people killed. That's, I'm sure glad we had a fellow in the White House named Harry Truman. At least he had the guts to drop the big eggs and end the war.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
And now I don't like what I hear right now.
Yeah,
I hope we don't go to war with Russia.
yeah. Can you tell us a little bit about what you did on the USS Boggs in the boiler room?
Boy, that kept the ship going. That made the steam for the engines and for the power. Turned the prop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. that was the job. And the only bad part of it was, most all the piping and stuff in the ship was covered with asbestos.
Oh, gee, yeah.
Yeah, and I did have a little lung trouble, but not that bad. But a lot of people had bad.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, you bet.
yeah. Well, you couldn't have had too much lung trouble making it to 96 and
I know,
being as
yeah.
healthy as you are.
Been pretty lucky
This
so
is
far.
great.
Yeah. Can't complain.
That's great. So after you got off the USS Boggs and left the Navy, you hadn't had enough of the ocean and boating, so I understand you became a fisherman.
Yeah, I went back fishing. Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
Well, I spent most of my time in Alaska. I was stationed in Petersburg,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I kept the boat in the wintertime.
Yep.
I brought it down to Gig Harbor a couple of times just
Sure.
to get repairs. But otherwise, I didn't bring it down too often.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I've been through the canal a few times,
Uh-huh.
Panama. I finished fishing up the season, and Mr. Dahl, one of the owners of the cannery, asked me, he says, could I get you to take a couple of your crew and fly down to Fort Myers, Florida? And so I got talking to him, and they'd bought a boat down there. Not a big one, I think it was 86 foot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spent about a week in getting the ship in good shape. And then we left there and headed for Panama Canal. And it just got out a little ways, and the Coast Guard came up behind me and pulled me over. Wanted me to stay at least 30 miles off of Cuba. They didn't want me to get too close, so they were pulling boats in at that time.
Yeah.
And I got in the canal, and I'd been through there about 4 times before.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I let my crew go ashore in Panama City and Balboa, and then over on the Mexican coast, I let them go ashore there.
Yeah.
Also San Francisco.
So you fished both in the Alaska side and then also in the Atlantic or the Gulf of Mexico too then, huh?
No, I wasn't fishing down there. I was just moving the boat.
Oh, just pleasure riding when you went near Cuba and all of that kind of stuff? Oh, okay,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
No, I didn't fish in the Atlantic at all. Not familiar with the Atlantic.
Yeah, okay. Okay. How many were on the crew for the boat?
Well, I had a crew of 6.
6, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long were the seasons as far as the Alaska
About
fishing?
3 months.
About 3 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was long enough.
Sure. Oh, yeah, I bet. So then, when you had the time here on the Key Peninsula, I understand that you did some other types of work. Do you want to share some of that?
Oh, I drove logging truck there for the logging companies. And I also drove semi for Parker Refrigerated in Tacoma. Matter of fact, I put quite a lot of time in with Mr. Parker. I put about 7 billion miles on the semi.
Wow.
Yes, I'll never forget when I retired. They had a big party over at the restaurant over there for me. And Mr. Parker had the mic, he invited me up to where he was at. He handed me a check for $1,000 and handed me a card for a vehicle in Hawaii, also a card for quarters in Hawaii, also a card for airline tickets.
Oh, great.
And my wife and daughter went with me.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, yeah, we had a good time.
That's neat. That's neat.
Yeah, he was sure a fine fellow to work for. He lived on the peninsula, just this side of the Fox Island Bridge.
Sure.
Real nice fellow.
And then you did some driving for the Van Slykes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You want
Oh,
to
yeah.
share some of that too?
Oh, Harm Ben's like, yeah, I drove log truck for him for quite a while, off and on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was really no resting when you came back from your
No.
arduous fishing trips. You just went right to work.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, boy, it wasn't more than get home and the phone would ring.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was sort of interesting life. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
I see you've been a very active, lifelong member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars.
Oh, yeah.
You want to share some of your experiences with
Well, yeah.
your working there at the cemetery and everything there involved?
Oh, a lot of cemetery work. Oh, yeah. And I ran a few of the Veterans Days up there. Matter of fact, I had quite a few pictures, but they were in my pickup when it was wrecked, and my daughter's got everything out in a storage shed, and I haven't went out there to check it. So I sort of hate to do it. But anyway, it was a good life, and did a lot of work up at the cemetery. My wife was buried up there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I have half a tombstone up there.
Half of one, yeah. The
Yeah.
other half,
Yeah.
okay, all ready to go.
Oh,
I understand that she was really active in the Coudiettes. Could you share with us
bet.
what the
And she was
Coudiettes?
active in anything she did.
Yeah.
You bet. She taught skating, she ran it for years, she taught Sunday school.
Uh-huh.
She even did a little teaching down at the school once in a while when a teacher would get sick or something.
Oh,
Yeah, she was a fine lady. Yeah.
you know, it's interesting, in a discussion the other day, I was talking to somebody that was kind of newer or quite a bit younger, and they weren't quite familiar with what Coudiettes were.
Oh, yeah.
Now, can you share with us what
Well,
the
they were just
Coudiettes
sort of
really did?
an
Yeah.
offset of the veterans. Yeah. They did a lot of work with the veterans. You know, you bet. It was, and they had their own uniform and stuff.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
It's bright red uniforms with
yeah, you
all of
bet.
the buttons
Yeah.
on them and
Oh,
yeah. Would you say it was kind of a women's auxiliary of
yeah.
your
Oh,
VFW
yeah.
group?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everybody, most of the women out there were in it.
Sure.
Van Slyke, Jane Van Slyke was in it, and a whole slug of them were in it. Yeah. They were a fine bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were always doing fundraising for good causes.
Oh,
and
yes, you betcha.
making sure that
Oh,
things were happening out there.
yeah. I remember Sally and I, they had a parade from Key Center to Vaughan.
Uh-huh.
And Sally and I led the parade.
Oh, okay.
That was years ago.
You were probably in your military uniform and could still
No,
fit in it, and she
I
was in her
doubt
Coudiettes
that.
uniform, huh?
I don't think I was at that time, but yeah, we had a good life.
Yeah.
We had a lot of friends out there. Yeah.
Now, you recently, sold your house out there in Vaughan a couple years ago?
Well, over a year ago now.
About over a year ago now. And you're presently residing here,
Yeah.
and this is, what's the name of this retirement home? Peninsula Retirement Home?
Yeah, ATRIA, Terra,
Oh.
Terra, retirement. Yeah.
Okay, a Terra Retirement Home. And you've just moved in here a couple months ago,
Well, I've been here since 28th of August.
28th of
About
August.
5 months
Yeah,
now.
okay.
Yeah.
How do you find it so far?
Not too bad. The only trouble is I have one of the smallest rooms in the place.
Uh-huh.
When my daughter got the room for it, that's the only one that was open.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But anyway, it's been a good place.
Good,
You bet.
good.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything that we might have skipped over or you'd like to add on?
This is what bothers me. I forget.
Well, you're entitled to. At 96 years old, you know, yeah, that's for sure.
Carlene, this is the people that's
You think he
working me over.
Oh, you're interviewing him? I see.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
doing an interview for the Key Peninsula Historical Society.
You'll be on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, well, what did I tell you that I was a speaker for the veterans here a couple of times?
No, you didn't. Could you tell us about that?
Well, the veterans had a deal here in Point Fosdick for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
The 11th of November is Veterans Day. And the woman I was going with, her and I were sitting down on a couple of chairs, and not too far from the stage.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, some fella had me by the arm and leaded me up the steps onto the stage and handed me a mic. I had to talk to, well, there was 5 different things picking up our speech. Facebook and a whole bunch of them.
Uh-huh.
And so I did a little speech. And then last year, I gave a big one. I showed respect for the women during World War II.
Uh-huh.
I thanked the men for everything, and then I thanked the women for taking care of the children and keeping the home fires going,
Yep.
and little things like that, and working in the shipyards, the fence plants, and airplane factories and stuff, and even out on the ocean looking for submarines.
Sure.
Yeah, they did a heck of a job, and one thing I thanked them for was taking care of the property while their husbands were in the service, and also planting victory gardens.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, they did. Everybody planted a victory garden. Just food was a little hard to get at that time.
Yeah?
Yeah. I guess if I had it to do over, I'd do the same thing.
It sounds like it. Doesn't sound like you have any regrets or anything like that at all. Were there other parts of your speech that you remember and would like to kind of share with us?
Well, it wasn't very long. It was just the speakers were asked to stay under 3 minutes.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't too long a speech, but it hit the point. Boy, I'll tell you, when I finished my speech there, there were a lot of cars parked. And everything was hooked to the car radios too. You could sit in your car and listen to everything.
Oh, okay.
And boy, I'll tell you, when my speech ended, I think every horn in the place was blowing.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Yeah.
I noticed they have a veterans park out here right
Oh, yeah.
across the street.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Are you scheduled for Veterans Day this year yet?
Well, no, they had Veterans Day over on the other side of Safeway up here in Point Fosdick.
Uh-huh.
They had lots of room to park cars back there and everything, and they had the room.
Yeah,
So they had it there the last 2 years,
yeah.
and it was wonderful.
Can you think of anything else that you'd like to share with us?
No, I'm just happy I'm still here.
Well, yeah, that's good, that's good. Did we miss anything, Judy? Anything that stick on there or add on? Yeah, I think we got this. Well, thank you very much, Wally. We really appreciate this. And
My daughter has a little knowledge about her husband. Yeah.
oh, okay.
Well, she was working at hospice when Don died.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
We missed Don. He was helpful to us on the
Oh, yeah.
Vaughn Library Hall and everything there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you betcha. Yeah.
Did you go into the Vaughn Library Hall very much?
Well,
when
not
you were there?
very much.
Yeah. Or
They
the
had
events?
a library over by the Civic Center for a while.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. We used to
Yeah.
go there.
Yeah. Were you ever around for any of the dances or the
Oh, all of them.
gatherings there
My
at the
wife
Vaughn
and we
Library
danced
Hall?
all over the country.
Uh-huh.
And line dancing, square dancing, ballroom dancing. My wife was a fabulous dancer.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
And I still go dancing.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, down to the Eagles, yeah.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah. You want in here?
I know I'm just getting.
This is the boss here, more or less.
That's the boss, huh?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Hey Wally, how you doing?
Good, did you want in here?
No, I'm just after a table.
Oh, okay. I think we're almost through anyway, so.
Yeah, we're just kind of winding this down. What about dances? They have dances here in the retirement hall?
Not really, they have
Yeah.
they have bands come in and
Oh,
play,
okay, okay.
and it keeps pretty busy here.
Sure.
Well, they have about 100 people here, so.
What kind of activities do you participate in that they?
Well,
Sorry.
bands, and they have a pool,
Uh-huh.
and they have that thing there where you throw the bags in the hole. And this young lady takes care of everything.
Oh, okay, okay.
We got a shuffleboard up there too.
Yeah, shuffleboard,
And
okay.
we used to do dances before COVID, so hopefully when they give us the all clear, we can have dances again.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's a good dancer.
Well, I was going with a lady by the name of Joanne. And, well, her and I went together about 4 or 5 years. Matter of fact, I was living with her out in Rosedale. And we'd go to the dances down at the Eagles all the time. And we got told a lot of times that we were the finest dancers on the floor.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But I don't know how I'm doing now.
Well, if you're out there on the floor, you do it darn good. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's really
Yeah.
good.
Oh, yeah, they had the deal over here on Veterans Day, that was on Facebook and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was quite a big deal. I think it was about 5 different outfits that broadcasted it.
Oh, neat, yeah. I've saved my question for last that I usually ask everybody on these interviews is, what are the biggest changes that you've noticed on the Key Peninsula from the time you first got there in 1955 until
Oh,
now,
that's easy.
2022?
That's easy.
Yeah?
Traffic.
Traffic. Okay.
I got my license in 1941.
Uh-huh.
We lived on the east side of the bay. And we were at the house there, and Dad asked me, my stepmother asked me to go to the store. So I got my dad's car and drove down to the head of the bay and then up to Edinburgh store and got groceries, drove all the way back down, back home, never seen another car.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, that doesn't happen nowadays, that's for sure. Yeah.
It was a good place to grow up. It really was. Yeah, I knew all the cops here. Matter of fact, I've never got a ticket for driving.
You didn't, huh?
No, on all my driving. And I was real lucky there because I knew all the cops too, probably.
Yeah.
Ralph Paulson was a city cop, and Gil Paulson was state patrol. The judge was Mr. Thurston.
You got
I
a
knew them all.
good memory there. Back to your school days just a little bit on this. Now, when you went to school there at the head of Gig Harbor Bay, roughly how many students would you think there was in your elementary group?
I think we had about, I want to say about 16 in the grade I was in.
16, yep.
Yeah, it wasn't many.
Yep,
Yeah, they
okay.
were pretty small.
Yep. A lot different than nowadays. I think we've got, had the one school at that time, pretty much, and now we've got quite a few. Okay, well, I'll let you get to your lunch, and unless you have anything else to add,
Well, no,
we
I
appreciate
think that's
this.
pretty good. I'm just getting so forgetful.
Well, yeah, we all are, yeah, that's all right. You're entitled.
And I sure appreciate both of you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking your time. Appreciate it.
And that's going to go on the air too, huh?
Yeah, we'll put this on YouTube,
Oh, yeah.
and do you have an email address, or do you do any email?
My daughter gets all my mail. That's Post Office Box 11, Fox Island.
Yeah.
Do you have access to a computer here?
What?
Do you have access to a computer here?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so you could look at it.
And the zip code, I think, is 98333.
Talk about a good memory.
That's good.
Were you and Sally members of the Twilight Dance Club during